Silence is not a language problem. Many immigrants think they are silent because of English. They think the problem is vocabulary, or grammar, or pronunciation. But silence is not a language problem. Silence is a human problem. And today, we will talk about that. Not fast, not loud, not with pressure. Slowly, clearly, and honestly. When people move to a new country, they expect many things. They expect a new life, new opportunities, new experiences. They also expect English to be difficult. But most people are surprised by something else. They understand more than they expected. They can read signs. They can follow conversations. They can watch videos. They can listen to podcasts. They understand. And still, they don't speak. Days pass. Weeks pass. Months pass. Sometimes years pass. And the silence stays. Many immigrants ask themselves the same question. Why am I still silent? Why can't I speak? Why does English disappear when I need it? They feel confused. They feel disappointed. They feel angry at themselves. They think something is wrong with them, but nothing is wrong with you. And this is the first thing you need to hear. Silence is not laziness. Silence is not stupidity. Silence is not low intelligence. Silence is protection. Your brain is doing its job. Your brain is trying to keep you safe. Let's talk about safety. When you speak your native language, your brain feels safe. You know the words, you know the rules, you know how people will react. But when you speak a new language, everything changes. Your brain feels exposed. You don't control the situation. You don't control how you sound. You don't control how people react. And your brain does not like that. The brain has one main job: not learning, not growth, not success. Its main job is survival. And from the brain's point of view, speaking badly is dangerous. It feels risky. Silence feels safer. When you are silent, nothing bad happens. Nobody laughs, nobody corrects you, nobody looks confused. Silence feels calm. Speaking feels like standing on a stage without knowing your lines. So the brain makes a simple decision: don't speak. Not because you can't, but because it feels safer not to. This is why many immigrants become very good listeners. They listen carefully, they observe, they understand context, but they stay quiet. People around them may think, oh, they don't know English, but that is not true. They know more than they show. There is another important part. When you speak a new language, you don't just speak, you show yourself. You show your accent. You show your mistakes. You show your uncertainty. And for adults, this is very uncomfortable. Children don't care. Adults care a lot. As an adult, you are used to being competent. You know how to explain things. You know how to joke. You know how to express emotions. But in English, you feel small again. Not because you are small, but because your language is small. And that feeling hurts. Many immigrants don't talk about this. They say, I just need more practice. I just need more vocabulary. I just need better grammar. But deep inside, they feel something else. They feel loss. Loss of status, loss of confidence, loss of identity. In your native language, you are someone. In English, you feel like nobody, and silence becomes a way to protect your identity. If you don't speak, you don't fail. If you don't fail, you don't feel pain.
This is how the brain thinks. This is why silence can last for years, not because English is hard, but because speaking feels emotional, and emotional pain is stronger than logic. You can know all the rules, you can pass tests, you can understand movies, but when a real person looks at you and waits for your answer, your mind freezes. This is not a language freeze. This is an emotional freeze. And here is something very important. The brain does not care that you want to improve English. The brain cares about comfort.
If silence feels comfortable, the brain will choose silence again, and again, and again. This is why many immigrants say, "I will speak when I feel confident." But confidence does not come first. Confidence comes after action. Silence never creates confidence. Silence only creates more silence. In this video series, we will not fight silence with grammar. We will not fight silence with rules. We will understand silence first, because when you understand something, it loses power over you. You are not broken. You are not slow. You are not bad at languages. You are human, and your brain is doing what it knows best, protecting you. In the next part, we will talk about fear. Not big fear, not dramatic fear. Small, quiet fear. The kind of fear that lives inside everyday moments. Fear of sounding stupid. Fear of accent. Fear of being judged. And how this fear controls speech. If this part feels familiar, that's a good sign. It means you are listening to the right thing. Take a breath. You are not alone in this, and we are just getting started.
Fear, shame, and the immigrant mind. Fear does not always feel loud. Sometimes fear is quiet. Sometimes it feels normal. Sometimes it feels like, this is just how I am. But fear is there. And for many immigrants, fear is the main reason English stays silent. Let's talk about fear. Not the fear of danger, not the fear of something terrible, but the fear of being seen. When you speak English, people hear more than words. They hear your accent, they hear your pauses, they hear your uncertainty. And suddenly you feel exposed. Many immigrants say, "I'm not afraid. I just don't feel ready. I just need more time." But if we are honest, there is something deeper. There is fear of judgment. Judgment is powerful. You don't know what the other person thinks. You don't know how they see you. And the brain starts asking questions. Do I sound stupid? Do they understand me? Do they think I'm smart? Do they think I belong here? These questions are exhausting, so silence feels easier. Fear and shame are connected. Fear says something bad might happen. Shame says something bad is wrong with me. And shame is heavy. Many immigrants carry shame without realizing it. Shame about accent, shame about mistakes, shame about not sounding professional. Even if nobody ever said anything bad, the shame is already inside. Accent is a big part of this. Accent is not just sound. Accent is identity. When you speak with an accent, you show where you come from. And sometimes you don't want to show that. Not because your country is bad, but because you are tired of explaining, tired of questions, tired of reactions, tired of feeling different. Some people correct you. Some people don't understand you. Some people are impatient. Even if they don't mean to be rude, your brain remembers the feeling, and next time it chooses silence. The immigrant mind learns one thing very fast. Speaking can be uncomfortable, and the brain tries to avoid discomfort. This is normal. There is also comparison. You hear other immigrants speaking better than you. You hear people who sound confident, and you think, Why can they do it? What is wrong with me? Why am I slower? Comparison creates pressure. Pressure blocks speech. Another important part is status. In your native language, you may be educated, you may be funny, you may be confident. But in English, you sound simple, sometimes very simple, and that feels painful. You may know complex ideas, but you can only express basic thoughts. And people don't see your real level. They see your language level, and you feel smaller than you are. This creates a strong inner conflict. You think faster than you speak, you feel more than you can say, and this gap creates frustration. So many immigrants stop trying, not because they don't care, but because it hurts. Fear also lives in expectations. You expect yourself to speak well, not perfect, but well, clear, correct, smooth. And when you can't, you feel disappointed. So you wait. I will speak when I'm better. But better never comes without speaking. Here is an important truth. Fear does not disappear before speaking. Fear disappears after repeated speaking. But the brain doesn't know that yet. The brain only knows past experience. If past experience says speaking feels bad, the brain remembers that, and it protects you again. Shame also comes from inside. Sometimes nobody judges you. Sometimes nobody cares. But you judge yourself. You hear every mistake. You notice every pause. You replay conversations in your head. This inner critic is loud, and it makes speaking harder. Many immigrants say, I understand everything, but I can't speak. That's because understanding is safe. Speaking is risky. Understanding happens quietly. Speaking happens in public. There is also fear of misunderstanding. What if I don't understand the answer? What if they ask something unexpected?
What if I don't know how to continue? So silence feels controlled. Fear creates habits. You start using the same phrases. You avoid new situations. You let others speak for you. Little by little, your world becomes smaller. Not because you want it to, but because fear shapes it. And here is the most important part. Fear does not mean weakness. Fear means you care. You care about how you sound. You care about how you are seen. You care about your dignity. This is human. But fear should not control your voice. And to change that, we don't need motivation. We need understanding. When you understand that fear is normal, you stop fighting yourself. When you stop fighting yourself, you create space to move forward. Real-life situations where English disappears. English does not disappear randomly. It disappears in specific moments. Moments that feel normal. Moments that happen every day. Moments that look simple from the outside. But inside, they are heavy. Let's talk about these moments, because if you recognize them, you will stop blaming yourself. The first place, the store. The store feels safe. You go there often. You know what you need. You have done this many times. But still, English disappears. You stand in line. You repeat the sentence in your head. You prepare the words. You feel ready. And then the cashier looks at you, and your mind goes blank. Suddenly, you forget the sentence. Your heart beats faster. Your thoughts slow down. You say less than you planned, or you say nothing at all. Why does this happen? Because the store is not just a store. It is a social moment. Someone is waiting for you. Someone is listening. Someone expects a response. The pressure is small, but it is real. Your brain thinks, say it fast, say it right, don't waste time. And under pressure, language hides. The second place, the
The doctor. The doctor's office is different. Here, English disappears for another reason. You are not relaxed. You feel vulnerable. You may feel pain. You may feel worry. Your emotions are already active. You want to explain something important, but English becomes simple. Very simple. You use basic words. You skip details. Not because you don't know them, but because emotions take space. The brain cannot do everything at once. When emotions are strong, language becomes smaller. This is normal. Later, you may think, I should have said more. I forgot important words. But in the moment, your brain chose survival, not communication. The third place, phone calls. Phone calls are one of the hardest situations. Many immigrants hate them, and there is a reason. On the phone, you lose visual support. You cannot see the face. You cannot read body language. You only hear sound, and sound in a new language is stressful. You cannot pause easily. You cannot ask for repetition comfortably. Everything feels fast. So many immigrants avoid phone calls. They let voicemail answer. They ask others to call. This becomes a habit. Avoidance feels good in the moment, but over time it strengthens fear. The fourth place, work. Work situations are very sensitive because work is connected to value, to money, to respect, to identity. At work, you don't just speak English. You represent yourself. You want to sound professional. You want to sound competent. And this creates pressure. You may know the answer. You may understand the discussion. But when it's time to speak, you hesitate. You think, what if I say it wrong? What if I sound unprofessional? What if they don't take me seriously? So you stay quiet. And silence at work feels dangerous, but speaking feels dangerous too. So many immigrants choose the safer option, silence. The fifth place, school and children. If you have children, English becomes even more emotional. You want to help your child. You want to talk to teachers. You want to protect them. But English is between you and that. You may feel embarrassed. You may feel guilty. You may feel angry at yourself. Not because you don't care, but because you care too much. This emotional weight blocks speech. The more important the situation, the harder it becomes to speak. Why English disappears in these moments. English does not disappear because it is weak. It disappears because the situation is strong. Pressure, emotion, expectation. These three things affect language. When you are relaxed, English comes easier. When you are stressed, English hides. This happens even in your native language, but in a new language, the effect is stronger. Another important point. In real life, you don't have time. You cannot stop and think.
You cannot build sentences slowly. Real life is fast, and your brain wants fast answers. But your English is still learning. It needs time. So the brain chooses silence again. Many immigrants think, if I practice more grammar, this will stop. But grammar does not train pressure. Grammar does not train emotions. Grammar trains rules. Life does not use rules. Life uses reaction. This is why English disappears in life but stays in books. Books are calm. Life is not. And this is the most important realization. Your problem is not English. Your problem is English under pressure. And pressure is something you can train, but not with rules, with exposure, with repetition, with safe practice.
Many immigrants believe that grammar will help them speak. They think, if I know the rules, I will feel confident. They think, if my English is correct, I will start talking. But this is not what happens. Many immigrants study grammar for years. They understand the rules, they can explain them, and still they stay silent. Grammar feels safe. A book does not judge you. An exercise does not wait for your answer. A rule does not sound impatient. Grammar is quiet, and quiet feels safe. Grammar also gives control. You know where to start, you know where to finish. You know if something is right or wrong. Real life is different. In real conversations, nobody waits. People speak and expect a response. There is no time to think about rules. Adults trust grammar because adults trust logic. Adults want explanations. They want reasons. They want to understand before they act. Children don't wait. Children repeat sounds. They copy phrases. They make mistakes. And they keep speaking. Adults want to be correct first. Correctness feels safe, but it slows speech. When immigrants rely on grammar, the brain learns to analyze. It checks tense. It checks word order. It checks mistakes. But speaking needs speed. While the brain is checking rules, the moment passes, so silence stays. Grammar is not bad. Grammar is useful later. But grammar cannot start speech. Speech starts with habit, and habit starts with repetition. So how do immigrants break the silence? Not with confidence, not with motivation, not with pressure. They break silence with small, safe actions. The brain does not like big changes. Big changes feel dangerous. Small steps feel safe, and safety allows progress. Immigrants who start speaking use simple English many times, not long sentences, not perfect sentences, simple sentences. They choose phrases they can say without thinking. I don't know. Let me check. I'm not sure. Can you repeat that? These phrases are simple but powerful. When the brain repeats the same phrases again and again, it relaxes. It recognizes the pattern. Patterns create safety. Safety creates speech. Mistakes are part of this process. Immigrants who start speaking allow mistakes. They make a mistake and nothing bad happens. The brain learns something important. Speaking is not dangerous. Fear becomes smaller. They also slow down. They pause. They think. They restart sentences. Native speakers do this too. Speed is not fluency. Calm is fluency. Another important change is thinking. Immigrants stop translating full sentences in their heads. Translation is slow. Instead, they think in meaning. Communication is not about perfect English. It is about being understood. Some days feel easy. Some days feel hard. This is normal. Progress is not a straight line. Silence may return sometimes. That does not mean failure. Immigrants who break the silence understand one thing. They are not broken. They are not slow. They are learning a new language as adults, and that takes time. Silence protected you before. Now it is time to move forward, one simple sentence at a time.